Intuitive eating, part 1. So the definition of intuitive eating that I'm going to provide you guys with this week is not the stuff that you already find online, okay? So it's not to say, I'm not telling you that what other people are writing are incorrect. And I always want you to use your own judgment whenever you are deciding how you want to intuitive eat. So I'm going to present to you the way that I do it, the way that worked best for me. So basically what I'm saying at this point, if you've read other ways to intuitive eat online and that works for you, keep doing it. I'm not here to tell you yes or no. I'm just here to tell you the way that I have seen it from an energetic perspective as well. So this really just isn't about a nutritionist saying to you, this is how you should intuitive eat, which is probably the majority of what you're going to find online. The way that I'm going to present it to you is also from an energetic perspective and connecting back to your body again. So I recommend watching these couple videos. Take what sounds right to you, take what works for your body in particular, and run with it at full speed and see where it gets you. Okay, here we go. I think a lot of people's misconception of intuitive eating is that they think you are only supposed to put in your body the things that you're craving, and that's not what it is at all, okay? The first thing that I'm going to tell you is to keep doing things the way that you're already doing them. Don't change the way that you eat at all right now. Just keep doing all of the things that you've always done. But every day when you wake up, you're going to ask your body and you're going to say it out loud, right? We're talking about energy. So this is about bringing stuff into your life and bringing stuff into your matrix. What you're going to do is say, what can I give you today? What do you need in order to function at the highest level that you can function? What does the best, highest version of my body need in order to make all of its processes do what it's supposed to do, right? Then you're going to use your eyes. You're going to use your sense of smell. You're going to use your sense of touch, and you're going to use your thought process to see what pops into you at any given time throughout the day. If you have the availability to go to farmers markets or you can go to the grocery store, then do I recommend walking around and seeing if there's something that you naturally gravitate towards? Yeah, of course. But we all don't have access to that, right? Every day. Like, there's no way that you can go to the grocery store every day. And here's what I found worked best for me over the last few years. Whatever it is that pops into my head, let's say it's asparagus, okay? And I have a thought process of asparagus. Like last night, I was kind of sitting and doing my own thing, doing some laundry, and I really got a craving for like plain Cheerios with milk. So that's how I know that a craving has popped up. When a craving hits, it's because it's your body telling you need something fundamentally inside that food for it to do what it has to do. You know what I'm saying? Go to part 2. Intuitive eating, part 2. Okay, so I just said, let's take the example of asparagus. It pops into your head. Or you're walking through the store and you're like, oh, that looks really good. Your eyes will naturally be drawn to things that it wants, okay? So when you're walking through the fruits and the vegetables, if you lock in on something, you're like, oh, strawberries look good. That's it. That's your intuition telling you that that's something that your body would jive with. That means that the two of those things would go together because your body's like, oh yeah, hey, I like that too. Does that make sense? So now your next step is to try to get that thing that has popped up into your reality now because it popped up into your thought process, or your hands kind of gravitated towards it, or it just looked good. It's to get that thing inside your body within the next few days, right? You want it within the next couple days is when you're shooting for. You don't have to run out and get the asparagus and then only eat asparagus for your next 3 meals. That's not what I want you to do. I just want you to take note of that thing, write it down, and then eventually, within the next few days, give it to your body so that it can start processing it and breaking it down and get the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that it needs because it's telling you that it needs it to begin with, okay? Now you're going to give it that thing. You're going to give it asparagus, and you don't have to give it just asparagus, and you don't have to eat it just raw. That's not what we're talking about here, guys, okay? Make it like you would make any other meal. If you eat asparagus with steak and potatoes, then do that. If you eat asparagus and you just want chicken breast on the side or something, do that, okay? Do the things that you normally do, because what we're also not trying to do is disrupt your body's entire flow because it's been living a certain way for a certain amount of time on the food that you have been giving it, and it's been functioning in that way because it's used to it. So don't stop all of the things that you are doing. You're going to throw your body way off course, and we don't want that. We want to add the things in naturally that you're already wanting to eat, okay? So the next step is, now that you have given it the asparagus, okay? It's the one thing that it asked for. Now that you have given it that, The next step is just to wait and not eat again until you have an actual hunger cue in your body, until your stomach actually physically growls, until you almost feel like a pain. Because what we do, especially here in the US, is we try to eat before that hunger pain happens. Is it pain? Pang? Hunger pang? I can't remember. Whatever. You guys get the gist. So essentially what we're doing is we're stopping, right? We're stopping the hunger pain from even coming to us. We're so disconnected from our body that we don't even feel that pain because we're eating before it happens. You know what I'm saying? You have to dial it all the way back to figure out what your body tells you and uses you as a way to trigger you to eat to begin with. Not your trauma, your body. So that's the next step. This is intuitive eating part 3. I just said, give your body the thing that it wants. And now you're going to wait. You're going to wait as long as it is until you have another physical hunger pang. Pain? I'm going to have to look it up right now. I can't do this, guys. Okay, I'd like to thank the Google because now I feel much better. It's pang, and I thought it was. So thank God I looked that one up. See, we all make mistakes, okay? Okay, so we're waiting for that hunger pang to hit, all right? And then what you want to do is see how many hours you went, right? Just think about when was the last time you gave it the asparagus. Is it possible that you went 10, 12, 14 hours before you actually needed more food again? Because you actually gave your body something that it needed in order for the processes to do their job. So now we have to see how long your body's going to go each time without something else being put in it to see when it tells you when it needs something again, when something is being depleted, because that's really what our hunger system is, right? That's what our digestive system is. It's a way for us to put in vitamins, minerals, nutrients, enzymes, all of those things that our body needs in order to have its highest functions. So when we're putting too much food in it, we're basically just saying, well, we gave you all that stuff, but we're going to give you more stuff again and more stuff again and more stuff again. And that's how the weight tends to come on. It's because you're not listening to what your body is saying and listening to it actually saying to you, hey, I'm hungry now, all right? So now you're going to eat. And I understand that people have schedules and that people have jobs, okay? So this is what I'm going to tell you to do. Carry some granola bars with you. Carry a snack. Carry something small. It doesn't really matter what it is because we're not focusing on what you are eating. We are not focusing on a calorie count. We are not focusing on fat percentage. We are not focusing on carbohydrates. You can carry whatever you want with you. If you want it to be a piece of fruit, if you want it to be a granola bar. I always had snacks because, I'm a mom, so I carry them in my purse. But carry something with you. And once you have that hunger pang, you are going to make sure you eat within a few hours after that because you're not going to die if you have a hunger pain, guys. You don't have to feel upset if you actually have one, right? You're not going to pass out right after the hunger pang. You're actually going to be fine. You're going to feel the hunger pang and then you're going to go about your business. So if you need something like you're at work or you're at school, you're a teacher and you can't get home until 3, then carry something small with you and have a snack that's going to tide you over. And then you can sit down and have your next big meal. But you don't want to have it before you have that actual hunger pang. Does that make sense so far? I hope you're following me with this. There's one more part I'm going to start you off with. So check out part number 4 and that's going to get you guys rolling for the first couple weeks, okay? Part 4 of intuitive eating. So you figured out your body had a craving. You got that thing in your body within the first few days. Doesn't really matter what time it is. It's just the first few days. You gave yourself that food that it craved, and then you waited. You waited until after you ate that food for a hunger pang to happen so that it would actually signal to you that I'm ready to go again. And I think all of you will be surprised at how long you will actually go before you actually have that feeling, that rumble telling you, give me something now. And here is the last part. You're going to do this for at least 3 weeks. And that's all you're going to focus on for those 3 weeks. You're not going to focus on calorie counting. You're not going to focus on getting on the scale. You're not going to focus on any of that stuff, okay? The only thing that you are going to think about is, what does my body want today? I'm going to give it that thing within the next few days. And then I'm going to wait each time afterwards that I give it that thing. It doesn't matter what your craving is. I'm not telling you it's going to be asparagus every time. When I first started this, because I was in the Midwest, for like a good week and a half, I craved White Castle. If you guys have never had White Castle, it's White Castle. It's Midwest. And I was used to my old ways of dieting. So what did I always do? Nope, can't have that. Can't have that. So this is the part that's going to freak a lot of you out. And I know it's scary, guys, because I know that you have dealt with dieting in a society that has trained us a certain way to do things, okay? But this is a really important part of it, especially for binge eaters. Because if you don't give yourself what you're craving, your body is going to push and push and push until you get it, right? So it's counterintuitive to do this, but you have to keep all the things that you crave in your house, okay? And if you don't want to keep all of them, at least keep one. So in my instance, I was a big Dove dark chocolate fan. I just always liked the flavor of it. And I used to, no, can't have it in my house, can't have that because I can't trust myself around it. One of the first things I did when I started intuitive eating was I made sure that I always had it. And when I had a craving for it each night, no matter what it was, I would pull 3 of the pieces out and I would sit on the couch. Because you have to train yourself to be able to give yourself the thing that you need, because your body is saying in some way, shape, or form it needs that. And please don't forget, guys, we have physical hormones in our body that will make you crave certain things that you need. Okay, so having a craving for sugar is not a horrible thing. It's the fact that you won't give yourself any of that sugar. So then you eat 7 other things until you can get to the sugar, and then it's not good enough. And then you get angry, and then you eventually have to go find the sugar anyways and get rid of the craving. You have to give yourself the things that you crave, and you have to teach yourself how to have a normal portion control. And if you can't do that, like when I first bought the chocolate, I would separate it into little baggies of 6 and keep them in the freezer because I like frozen chocolate. And then I would just pull out the bag. But I knew that I was allowed to have that so the craving would go away. Make sense? Intuitive eating part 5. So you have to start trusting yourself enough. You have to trust your body that you're going to be able to stop it. Because every single person that binges or gets crazy about food and counting things, there's a natural point where you stop now. Even if you're a binge eater, right? There's still a point where you stop. Maybe it's because you've gotten so full you can't fit any more in. But you still have to start trusting yourself that you're going to be able to stop yourself at some point. So we are doing this for 3 weeks because we want to focus on the habit. We don't need to focus on the intuitive eating part of it, okay, guys? We need to focus on creating the habit, creating the new pathway moving through your brain. That's what we're trying to establish. And if you try to implement all these other things along with it, then you're going to break the habit right away. You're not going to make it those 3 weeks because it's too much. It's overwhelmed, right? Most of us go through a diet. I'll start on Monday, and then we get through a week or a week and a half and we fall off. So you have to set yourself up for success with this. You have to really get to a point where you are dialing yourself back and saying, I'm not going to lose a massive amount of weight this month, because that's not my goal. My goal is to find out the things that my body is naturally craving. And over time, you're going to build your own booklet of the things that your body loves to eat. Not my body, your body. Because my body and my chemistry makeup is completely different than yours. Just because of the fact that we use different products, right? I use Aquafresh, you use Crest, boom. Different chemicals in our body connected to different elements that we are all compromised of. So we're all going to be different. It doesn't even matter if 2 people have PCOS or something, right, guys? Everybody's body is different. So what your body is going to need is not going to be the same thing that my body is going to need. So if I'm craving asparagus, that's my body reaching out and saying, I am needing something from here, okay? So I'm going to give you a little bit of hint with meat as well, because I know meat is very controversial for a lot of people. So let's talk about it. I was such a heavy dieter for so long, right? I started my first diet at 14 and I'm 43 now. So I dieted all up until the day that I was 40. I was so anemic. I never ever ate red meat. I never ate anything with iron, right? And a lot of my anemia stemmed from the fact that I was dieting so hardcore for so long. So for like a year and a half when I quit doing all this, I craved red steak. I didn't crave ground beef. I didn't crave anything else. There were certain cuts even, and I didn't know shit about cuts. I would just go there and see what looked best with my eyes and pick that thing out. And I went a good chunk of time eating steak at least once a week, which I had never done before. And lo and behold, my iron has actually leveled itself out. And about 2 months ago, I quit eating and I've never had a craving since. Intuitive eating part 5. Check out the other videos. It gives a breakdown of how to get started, okay? So what I was saying about meat is that meat is not good or bad, okay? Some people don't like to eat it. That's fine. In an energetic capacity, okay? Meat has its place. Protein has its place. Some people's bodies need it. It's really not supposed to be in the mass quantity that we use it now and the way that we treat the animals. But there's a symbiotic relationship that we have with animals, right? And sometimes our body does need that stuff. So I'm not going to tell you what to do or what not to do here, okay? If you like chicken, eat chicken. If you crave red meat, eat it. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen forever. What's going to happen is that you are going to front load your body with all of the nutrients that it needs. And front loading means that you're taking it ahead of time so that it can build up its reserves for whatever it is, if you've never heard that term before. So you're going to front load it with what it's craving. And at a certain point, it will tell you, I'm done, I don't need this anymore. And then you're going to go for however long. It could be years. You could never maybe need it again. I don't know. We don't know what that looks like years from now, right? But what it's going to do right now is it's going to crave it for a certain amount of time. So you're going to keep logging these particular foods that you crave time after time after time because they function perfectly with your body's chemistry. Do you see what I'm saying? So you're probably going to have to eat them again. And that's how you start modifying your shopping list over time. You do this a little bit at a time, right? So if you're like a bulk buyer and you have to make sure that you are getting all of your food in bulk, then these are the things that you're going to want to start really notating and writing down because eventually your body's probably going to crave it again. Like, yeah, I ate asparagus for like 3 months straight and then I never wanted to touch it. I went about another 7 weeks, 8 weeks, and then my craving started up again for it. So as your body depletes the things that it needs, it's going to ask for it again. So now you know you have to start incorporating that in your everyday stuff, okay? Now I'm going to reiterate this here, guys. The most important part of this is the 21 days, right? Science says it takes 21 days to form a habit in your brain. Sometimes it'll happen sooner for people. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but that's what you're shooting for. You're shooting for 21 days right now. We're shooting for creating the habit. We are not shooting for changing your body into an intuitive eating machine, okay? We are creating the habit, and then we can start modifying that habit and break it down one at a time. So this is going to be a good chunk of video to get you guys started with intuitive eating, okay? And then once we get to this point, it's going to start needing to be addressed person to person. So if you have more questions after this point, we're going to start needing to schedule one-on-one. All right, friends, intuitive eating part 6. This is the last of the intuitive eating videos, okay? So those first 5 are going to get you started. They're going to get you moving forward on your intuitive eating journey, right? Here's what I want to say in the last part. This video is probably the most important out of all of them. And I'm going to say this to you from the bottom of my heart. Be kind to yourself, okay? You have to be kind to yourself during this because one of the things that we are attacking is your internal thought process. We're trying to create a habit with a better internal dialogue. You're going to fall off of the wagon. You are, okay? You are. That's just life, okay? And when you really look at the law of polarity, right? Law of polarity states that if you've swung one way so hard for so long, that when you come off of that, you're going to swing the opposite direction pretty hard, okay? And then you're going to start losing momentum. You're going to swing little by little by little. It's not linear. Getting into this is not linear until you find a balance, okay? And if you don't learn how to give yourself grace, and if you don't learn how to be kind on the days that you do have a binge or you fall off, you're going to talk yourself straight out of this. And we're trying to build the habit, okay? That's why I say start off really slowly and start off small because you're going to have bad days, right? We're humans. We have bad days, okay? So binge. Binge when you feel it. There's lots of other things that are going on, right? There's hormone cycles. There's all kinds of stuff that are happening in there that are telling us maybe you just had a really, really bad day. Maybe you feel destabilized. Maybe you're just sad internally, okay? And maybe you need to fill that hole with mashed potatoes. I'm not saying that mashed potatoes are right or wrong, but give yourself that thing. Allow yourself to be comforted. But you know that you're going to come back on the other side of that and you're going to say, look, I gave you whatever you needed, and I do feel better now. Thank you for that. However, I'm now going to wait until you give me a hunger pang before I eat again, and we're going to get right back on track. You have to be kind to yourself, and you have to say it's okay that I did that. Now, the very last piece of this puzzle is you have to start figuring out why you are eating when you are eating. So if you walk into that kitchen and you're ready for a binge, now we start working on the mental health part of it. Why am I in here? Why am I wanting to eat this? Why am I craving this? Why am I about to binge? Why did I just binge? Am I mad because I had a fight with my boss? Am I not getting a need met? You have to start working that backwards so that we can attack it from the root. So